Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now today marks another powerful project in our 10-day Power BI Hackathon Challenge. In this episode, we are diving into a truly important dataset, which is the global death causes by country and year. Now this isn't just another numbers project. This dataset is going to help us understand how different diseases and health conditions impact populations across the world. We'll be analyzing deaths related to conditions like meningitis, Parkinson's, diabetes, liver disease, etc. Now, as a data analyst or business analyst, this type of project is going to help you practice high-level analytical skills, identifying trends, and spotting high-risk regions. All right, and so right in this project, we have um this has been hired as business or data analyst for this international health insights organization. All right, and then the leadership of the organization wants to understand how the burden of 32 diseases, which I've mentioned quite a few, Parkinson's disease, meningitis, malaria, all right, changes across countries and over time. Now, the goal of this project is to one, support global policy making, identify high-risk regions, monitor improvements, allocate funding more effectively. All right, and so attached, like I always do, is data set in the description box below. You can check that out. All right, and then follow along as I guide you through this project. Now, this project is going to be a simple but a powerful one. All right, and so the business goal for this data set is to identify disease with the highest global impact, understanding which countries are most affected, detecting trends over time, and highlighting regions that show improvement. So this is just what we'll be looking. The business question that we'll be answering include finding the total deaths in all the years by year, the top 5 diseases globally, the total deaths by countries from the highest to the lowest, countries with the lowest, etc., etc. And so by the end of this session, we should be having a dashboard that is looking like this. All right, and in here we use quite a number of items. We made use of the drill down and the drill up as well. All right, and then our slices. Okay, so this is going to be the final project. All right, if we are to select, all right, you can see the down and drill up function is working. All right, you can see that, right? Okay, and so yes, so without much ado, let's dive right in as I guide you in doing this. All right, so in this particular project, I'll be taking you from the initial stages when the data set is imported and what to do at that very initial stage, because knowing what to do at that very initial stage is pretty much essential to deriving this outcome. All right, so I'll be showing you all that. So without much ado, let's dive right in. All right, so now there's a project that we are working on, and I've already imported the data set. All right, so it's the annual number that I believe in the description box below, like already stated, and this is it. So I've imported it into Power Query Editor in Power BI. All right, I need to make some cleaning, some adjustments before we then move on to doing our analysis and answering the business questions. Now, first of all, if you look at this data set, all right, and how it is arranged, okay, let's see if there's anything that we need to first do, remove or merge or whatever before we even continue. So the country column, the validity is showing that everything is all right. Country code is showing that there are some empty spaces. Yes, okay. Meningitis, and I've gone through all of them, and I know the sickness columns are all good. They are okay. Okay. So the only thing that is really bothering is this particular column, the country code. And we are obviously not going to visit the country code. So rather than removing the empty spaces or filling it with unknown, I would just like to, remove it from the data set altogether, because we're not going to visit the country code. We'd rather be focusing on the country and not the country code. All right. So if you want to remove anything from the data set, just right click a column and then you can go to remove. I have a video on data cleaning using Power Query in Power BI for all of this. So if you haven't checked that out, you can check that out. All right, so we are removing this. Okay, so now that we have that particular column out of the way, all right, now you might be tempted to just go in and start doing your own thing, but you need to understand something. If you look at how this particular data set is being presented, all right, if you look at how it's being presented, okay, where the every disease has its own column, it's going to be difficult to find the total or the average death by the entire year. All right, so if you look at what I mean is, it's going to be difficult to find the sum of total death, all right, across. Now let's try it and see what I mean by what I'm just saying. Okay, so let's say if I'm to close and apply this, all right, if I'm to apply this, it needs to load, so it's going to load. Okay, so a minute, a few minutes. All right, okay, so it's loaded. So if you come in here, all right, and we want to find the total amount, it's going to be nearly impossible, because if you take this is only going to give us the total death by hepatitis B. All right, this is just going to give us the total death by hepatitis B to be this. So unless we fetch each and every one of them of the sicknesses, all right, and then we now come out and make additional summation, it's going to be nearly impossible, all right, to find the total debt. And so in view of this, what do we do? All right, what do we do? So we are going to go back to our Power Query, and you can easily just use the transform data to go back to our Power Query editor, all right? And so to take you back here, so now we've gone in to see how the data is going to appear, and it's not going to be favorable for us. It's going to be really difficult. So what do you do? And this is where the unpivot and pivoting that I've taught, all right? I have a lesson on that in one of my on my channel, excuse me, all right, and you can look at that. All right, so this is where the pivoting and unpivoting lesson really shines or comes in, because then it's going to help you to group all of this so that we can finally find the how do we call it, the total debt. All right, so how do we do that? I'm simply going to select this, and I'm going to select all of the sicknesses. All right, so I'm going to select all of the sickness columns, because all these are sickness columns. All right, we should be able to group them and call them sickness, and then the values, we call the values maybe values, all right, or debt total. Okay, and so, oh come on, all right, so let me start all of this again. Is there a way to just copy all of them? No. So I'm going to have to select them one after the other again. All right, I just want to show you this. We'll be going right in, but I just want to show you. So those of you who have not checked that video out on pivoting will get an idea of what it really does. All right, so that is why I'm doing all of this. So let's go right in, and then I'm selecting all of the columns that I want to unpivot and I want to unpivot. In this case, all of the sicknesses. These are all sicknesses. That is why I'm able to unpivot all of them. If there were to be different, columns in here, then I wouldn't have to select those as well. So like you can see for the year and then the country, I didn't select them because I don't want those ones unpivoted. I only want the sickness columns unpivoted. All right. So like I said, I have an in-depth explanation on pivoting and unpivoting in my video. I might leave that somewhere to help you. So now I've selected all of my sickness columns, all right, all of the causes columns, and I'm going to right click, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to unpivot columns, and then now you can see that now it's giving me, so these are the sicknesses or cause sicknesses, and then these are the values. All right, these are the values. And so now that I have this, if I'm to go in there, all right, if I'm to go back in there again, all right, so let's wait for it to load. It's loading. All right, so just a few minutes. It's loading. All right, so it's almost done. So if you have to come back in, let's see how it's going to appear. All right, so now we have this. Okay, now we have this. So now what you can see is that what we had earlier have been summarized into value and sickness. So now in this case, if I'm to select value, we are able to do what? We are able to derive. Let me take this off. Now we're able to derive that. So now this is total debt. Okay. All right. So, okay. So if this is understood, I just wanted to show you how we derived or how we got to get this total amount of sum of total debt. All right. By the various sickness causes and over the years. All right. So now we understand how we derive that. All right. And like I explained, we did that based on the fact that we're able to use the pivoting and unpivoting columns in Power BI. All right, so without much ado, now let's jump right into the main thing. All right, so now going in, of course, we are going to be using this as our guide. All right, to probably one or two things might change a little, but that's fine. We are doing it. We are doing it, and I'm here to guide you throughout the process. So that's fine. So the first thing that you do, like I've always said, is to get your background. All right, to design your background, and then if you want to add a wallpaper, you can add a wallpaper. Now, in this particular case, we are not creating the background in Power BI. I've already created the background, designed the background, and I did that in PowerPoint. All right. So you can see it here. So this is my background, what I designed, and I did all of this in PowerPoint. Now, if you want me to show you or take you through a step-by-step process on how to design a Power BI or Tableau desktop background, all right, in PowerPoint, just leave that in the comment section. Just say, yeah, we want you to do this or something, all right, and then I'll do that. I know I have a video on designing background, but I didn't add this because at the time my PowerPoint wasn't working. But I'm not sure if you guys will be interested in. So if you will, be sure to leave that in the comment section down below. The comment section down below, of course, and then I'll look at that, and if I need to make a video on this, I'll make a video on this. All right, so yeah, this is my Power BI dashboard background for this particular project. All right, I'll be leaving this in the description box as well, the background, and you can use that. Okay, so I have that, and I'm going to come to my background, and now I'm going to browse and pick my background. All right, now creating the background isn't as difficult as how to really save it. All right, saving the background to fit in Power BI is what is really important. So I have my background. So this is my background. All right, so like you can see, so I created this. All right, I created this, and so I picked this, I saved this, and I picked this, and now I have it in here. All right, and so now that we have this, we can obviously go and then let's work on our wallpaper. And the wallpaper is just this thing right over here on the borders. So I'll make this big. You can see it on the side. All right, so that's just a wallpaper. So the wallpaper, I'm going to select the black for it. All right, and then if I'm to bring this back here, voila, now we are set. So now we have our everything already set. Now all we need to do is to go in and start answering business related questions. Okay, and so one thing I needed to understand is that in this particular hackathon series, I've already made the calculations and everything, and so I'm just going to show you. So this is how I calculated the total debt. All right, this is the DAX formula for total debt. Okay, so when you see it right up here, so all right, so I didn't really make I didn't use a measure for this because right after on pivoting I only had total and is in the aggregation form. All right, so once you're on pivot you can easily just see this, and that's why the DAX is not showing because I didn't use a DAX formula for this. All right, I just went in because it's just one calculation and it's already giving me the option to aggregate. All right, so I went in there. So yeah, let's jump right in. Let me take this out for now. And so this one, we use a card visual to illustrate this. All right, so we are just simply showing the total debt. All right, so the total debt across. All right, so if you look at the first question, it says we should find the total debt in all the years. All right, and that is what we are simply doing. And so like I said, we didn't use a DAX formula. You don't necessarily have to use DAX for everything. All right, sometimes I find it so it's so overestimated. I don't know if that's the right word, but everybody is using DAX. But sometimes you just don't have to. You can just simply, if there's an easy way, because in this particular case, it's giving us an easy way. All right. So once I have this, now I'm going to come right. So now let's format. I'll be formatting my card. All right. And so we are formatting the card, and yeah, that's simply what we are doing. So let me go and format it. So I'm good with this. So what is important is the call out. We are going to come to the value, and the value. I don't know. Should we make this 15 or is 15 too much? 20. All right. So we'll see how it goes when we are adding the picture. All right. So that's for the value, and then for the label is this, the sum of total, and we can format that as well. So I'm formatting that. So this. I want this to be black because I want everything to be black. All right, and then so for the value, I think I want it in the middle, the alignment. All right, the horizontal alignment and everything. I want it in the middle, and then now after that, you can see we have a picture. All right, you can see we have picture here. Okay, so let's go in and add that. All right, so you can simply do that by you're in the call out and you're just going to click on picture or image, excuse me, and then you're going to drop down and I'm going to select my image from here. All right, So my image is going to be this, all right, in this particular case. All right. All right. And so once we have our picture in there, now we need to do a little bit of, adjustments. Okay. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, it says image fit center. All right. And then the size, this is too big a size. So I'm going to change the size to 50. Let's see. We can still make it 60, right? Okay, so I think 60 is fine. And left of text, now you can make it right of text, you can make it below text. If I put it on right, it's going to the right. If I put it on the left, it's going to the left. But I prefer to have it the left. Now, if you prefer to have it on the right, you are free to do just that, all right? And so, yeah. So we have that. Okay, I think that should be it for now. So we have this, all right? And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put this right here. And now we are done with the first visualization and the first question, which is this, all right? Okay, so now we come down here, we continue with the question. So now we are done. I hope everyone is okay with that. And the question is, find the total deaths by year. And so I've indicated that it should be filter, all right? Should be a filter. So we need to find the total by year, okay? So the total by year, we are going to use the year as a filter, all right? And then I'm just going to select the slicer because it's a filter, so I'm going to select the slicer, and now we need to format this, all right, so that once we click on 1990, we are going to find the total sum of it. 1991 is going to give us the total sum because it's a slicer, all right, it's going to give us, so we can use this as a slicer to see how many deaths we had in that particular year, all right. Now the data set is from 1990 to 2019. So 2019 we had there was 320 million deaths across. That was worldwide. Wow, 320 million deaths. That's so sad. I mean, I just lost my sister, but this is really sad to know. So we can just format this, all right. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to start formatting. So I want it to be black, all right, bold, and this, all right. I think I'm done with slices. It shouldn't really be anything difficult. If you've been paying attention to my channel, slices and cards shouldn't be a problem, all right. And then the rows, I think I'm going to just leave the rows at 3, all right. And I want this to be 1. No, I want this to be 3 rather. I want this to be 1. This thing always confuses me, but well, not really my fault. Let's say 4 is 4 fine. All right. All right, so now I'm going to pick this and bring this up here. Let's see, bring this up here. All right, and like so. And then we are going to stretch it out a little bit more. Okay, like so. Now we are not done. We still need to do a little bit of formatting. So first and foremost, I'd like to take this out. All right, I'd like to take that out, and then I'm going to have to come right here and the multi-button selector, all right. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to reduce this to 1, okay. And then the overflow, I want it to be paginated, horizontally, all right, horizontally, so that we can have this. So if I want to move on to the next batch, I can just click on this arrow, take me to the next batch, and so on and so forth, all right. And so, yeah, believe you are done with the second part of the question, which is to, find the total deaths by year using filter. So we've created our filter to find the total deaths by year, all right. And so the third one is saying that what are the top 5 diseases globally, all right. So that is our next question. They want to know the top 5 diseases globally. And if you come here, I think I use a tree map to answer this question, all right. So top 5 sickness by total death, all right. And I added a little bit of draw up, draw down, by countries as well. All right, by countries as well. So I'll show you why I did that. Let's move. All right, so let's jump right in. Now to find the total, the top 5 countries with the highest sickness, all we are going to do is we are going to select the metrics that we are looking at. We are looking at country, and we are looking at total death. All right. Now, probably we could have just used the map chart to show this, but I didn't want to bombard you with so many things. I wanted this project to be quite simple, quite very simple for anyone at all to just look up and pick it up. All right, and we use a tree map to illustrate this. All right, so using the tree map, all right, and then we have this. Now, if you look at this reminds me of something I did when I was first starting out, on my journey. I had an interview, okay? So this is just a little story, all right, on when I first started learning Power BI and data analytics. So I had an interview, okay? Yeah, so now I'm pretty sure there's going to come a time that I'll make a video on my data analytics journey, but that is for another day. So I had this interview. I just started out, all right, with data analytics, and I had this, all right, and so I had this interview, this chicken, I had this fowl or whatever, cob or whatever. I had this interview, and I went in there, you know. I just started out, so I didn't really know much, and I'm a self-taught, all right. So if you know me, you know I'm a self-taught. So I was struggling a lot when it comes to picking up some of these tools. I really struggled. Okay, when I first started out, I really struggled. So I went into the interview room. Truth be told, long story short, I bombed the interview. All right, I couldn't answer one question. I mean, I couldn't answer any question at all. I couldn't create one visualization. It was just so sad. All right, but what reminded me of that particular interview was that I went in there thinking I had studied DAX. I've learned DAX. I knew DAX, in and out. Everything I was just like some of you watching this right now. Everything was about DAX, 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 DAX. I just wanted to show that I knew DAX. All right, I just wanted to show that I knew how to use DAX. But the question that they gave, and if I am to answer them today, I wouldn't even think of using DAX because it just didn't make any sense to me at all to be using DAX. All right, but I just wanted to prove something. I don't know what I wanted to prove. I just wanted to show them. So now what I'm currently using, this is conditional formatting. I have a video on this. You can check that out as well. So I just wanted to prove them that I knew what I was doing and all of that and all of that. Okay. And then I went in there and I was asked to find the top 5, top 10 products, and I was using DAX for it. It was just a waste of time. And like I said, I bombed that interview totally. I couldn't answer just one question because I was so concentrated on DAX, coming out, showing them that I knew how to use DAX formulas. But that was when I realized that look, using Power BI isn't about the visualization or DAX or relationship or whatever. It's just about you knowing how to solve business questions. All right, knowing what to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be DAX, but as long as you can solve the problem, that is it. You are good to go. And so I came back and I learned. And so I'm also showing you here right now that if you have to find the top 5 countries by total sales, you don't need to use DAX. All right, long story short, you don't need to use DAX. All you need to do is create a visualization, come right here, country, I'm going to say top 5 country. So top 5 or top 10 countries, which one? And I'm going to pick the folder that I'm basing it on and apply. And yeah, we are good to go. It's just as simple as that. All right, it's just as simple as that. All right. So yeah, so you can see, but World and G20, these are not countries. All right, we really need countries. So I created a hierarchy also. I wanted to show by country. So I had to create a hierarchy. I just picked. Oh, so it's supposed to be sickness. All right. So sickness is supposed to be this. All right. So this is it, and then we have our country. Okay. And then we have our country. So I come down here and I'm going to say this particular one country, we don't want this. So for country, what I want to do, forgive me, is there are some items in here that like so African region is not a country. So I'll be picking them out one by one. Excuse me, it's going to take few moments. Let's see. East Asia and Pacific, not countries. If they are, you can leave that in the comment section below. That as well. Europe and Central, not a country. European region, not a country. What else? Latin America, not a country. So if it's not a country, some of them they summarize them, all right? They summarize them as one. So middle is I don't think it's a country. If it is, you can let me know. North America, taking this out. North Ireland, Macedonia, OECD, taking this out. Region of now because of the Christmas, because I'm doing this around the Christmas festive, so there are a lot of chickens and fowls. People have bought a lot, so they keep distracting my work. But that is fine. I just hope you are paying close attention to what I'm doing. There we go again. So this, all right. So I'm taking everything that is not a country, out of it, all right. So that is what you see me doing. United States, Virgin Islands. I think that's a country. I don't know. Take world out because there's a total. We take this out. We take this out. We take this out. We take this out. All right. And so yeah, we're done. Voila. So I think now we can go back, log this, do this. And then for the sickness, we want the top 5 sicknesses, all right? So then we can use the top 5 over here. And I'm going to say top 5 sicknesses by the total death and apply. Voila. And so we have our draw. Now, before I continue, I want to say before you are able to use your drill up and your drill down, you need to have created a hierarchy. So I've created a hierarchy. The hierarchy is simply, so sickness comes, then before country, then if you want to add maybe year, you can just pick it and drop it after, alright, so that you are able to create your drill up and your drill down, right? So that's what I've created. So the fact that I have 2 items in here, alright, in my more or less like my X column, my X, X axis, alright, so that is me creating my hierarchy, all right. So the hierarchy says that, all right, so we want the top 5 sicknesses. That is fine. But beneath that, we also want it by country, so that if I'm to select this, my draw down, and I'm to click on this cardiovascular, it's going to give it by country, all right, telling me that G20. I think G20 is also not country, so let me just check that and remove that G20. So I'm removing this, all right. So now I have this, okay. So this is saying that, all right, so by country, the top 5 sicknesses are cardiovascular diseases, neoplasms, lower respiratory infections, chronic respiratory disease, etc. And then when it comes to the biggest of them, the sickness that's taking the most life, which is cardiovascular disease, if I'm to select which countries are really dying out of this, it tells me that China is the country that has lost most of its population to that particular sickness. And then afterwards, we have India and Russia coming in a close second. And then the United States and so on and so forth. All right. Now, if I'm also to select neoplasm, so which countries are falling victim to this also? Again, we have China leading, and then we have the United States coming in as close second. Then India, Japan, and all the rest of them. And we can do that for all of this to see which countries are actually dying to these particular sicknesses at any point in time. All right. And so now that I'm done with that, so we are done with this. So let me just format the heading a little bit. All right. So we can go to the heading and then format it. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to come here. I'm going to say this. And then put this in the middle. And then voila. So we are done with our third, question, which is what are the top 5 diseases globally? So we've answered the top 5 diseases. So these are the top 5 diseases globally. You even added a little bit of drill down and drill up, to let people know which countries are actually falling victims to these sicknesses. All right. So now we are moving on to the fourth question, which is finding the total death by countries from the highest to the lowest. So we are finding the total death by countries from the highest to the lowest. And with this, I'm going to be using a matrix or a table. All right. So that is what you can see me show right over here. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean by from the highest to the lowest. Because if you look at this, this is showing from the highest all the way down to the lowest. And we are again going to be using something simple. We are not going to be using rank and rank X. No. Okay. Now, before we continue, I just want to take a minute and ask you to please subscribe if you've made it up to this point, and if you haven't subscribed yet. All right. Kindly be sure to subscribe. All right. so that you will be able to join the Nakama, and then when I upload any new video like this, you'll be the first to be notified. Alright, now let's continue. Alright, so the total debt by countries, okay? And so we are going to be picking what we need, which is country, and then the total debt. Alright, in this case, we are going to be using what we call the metrics to show this, okay? So I'll bring in this right here. So the total debt by country. Alright, so we have this. And again, we are going to come to country and remove the ones that we don't think are countries, alright, from this, because we don't want them to, spoil the entire analysis. So African region is not a country. American Swan, so we are going to do this one by one. Sorry for that. African region, East Asia. I don't think there's a country. I think it's a region. I don't know. It's Mediterranean. I don't think there's also a country on its own. I think it's a combination of some countries or whatever. I think it's a region or something. These two are not. Okay, so G20 is not. I think it's a group of countries coming together to form, an alliance. I guess Latin America. Let me look at this. WB. I don't think it is. This on. There's a country. Maybe it's. I don't think there's a country on this own. I don't believe it is. I mean, so you know what the countries that are countries on this own, right? So this islands is not in islands. I don't even think it is. And then we have this is not, alright? Okay. I don't think this is as well. St. Kitts, is this? Maybe I'm not entirely sure. You can leave it down in the comment section below if you think it is. Alright, Solomon Islands is in the country, of course. This is not a country on its own. This is not a country on its own. Alright, so we are just taking them off, taking them out. Alright, this is also not. Then let's come down to these ones. This is not. Okay, Uzbekistan. This is not, this is not, this is not. Alright, this isn't, this isn't, this isn't. Okay. Now we've taken them all out. Lock. And then, yeah. So now we can go ahead and format this. Alright, so since it's a matrix, we're going to go ahead and say, alright, we want bold header. Okay. And that's how come we got this. Alright, and the values, we want to increase it a little bit. Let me say 11. This looks okay. And then we are going to leave them as they are. Column headers, let's broaden them a little bit. Alright, and then put them in the center or align center. Okay, alright. Now, like so. Now let's stretch this a little bit to cover the entire. Okay. So now we have this. So now we are almost done, except let's see the row headers. Alright. So now we are almost done, except now we need to sort them. Yeah, we need to sort them in descending order because the question says that they want it from, so find the total debt by country from the highest to the lowest. Alright. So that's what the question is saying. So they want it from the highest to the lowest. Alright, they want to know the countries with the total debt all the way to the country with the lowest debt. And so we are going to sort by the sum of total debt. Alright, so we are summing by the total debt. Alright, and then so obviously then descending order. So we're going to order them by descending order. And so showing us that China is the leading country with the most debt, which is unfortunate from 1990 to 2019, and we are not entirely sure why. So should we provide more financial assistance to China or should we not? Alright. And so managers can use this to make their decisions, and we can say that, okay, I don't know which country this is, but they have the least number of debt. What are they doing better than all of these countries? The United States and India and China are the top 3 countries with the most debt, and it's a bit worrying. And even Nigeria is part of the top 5, the top 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nigeria is part of the top 6 countries with the most debt from 1990 to 2019. Wow, Nigeria, I didn't know Nigerians had so many death issues. All right. So this is it. This is a country. We can use this also to perform our analysis. All right. Now to make it easier, I added a little bit of filter, death filter for this particular, a filter to that shows that has all of the sicknesses, all right, in there. Okay, so whichever sickness that we are targeting, malaria, meningitis, Parkinson's disease, HIV, we can just go in there and then check based on that particular sickness the analysis as well. Okay, all right, so let's create that. It's going to be something simple. So I'm going to pick sickness, all right, and then since we want this as a filter, we select the filter, and then I can select this. Hold on, I can just select this right there, go to format painter, and I want it in the same way. Alright, so now we can pick this. Alright, we can pick this and then bring this right here. Okay, alright, bring this right there. So yeah, okay. Okay. So what I just want to do is, because we can't see, I need to make the multiplier, I need to make just one. All right. So acute hepatitis. All right. And yeah, that should be that. And so I can select this, and this is going to give me information on this particular sickness. All right. You can see everything, the total death is here, the total death by countries. All right. And then if I even want to add a little bit of flair, I can. So this sickness in 1990, how many lives did it take? And we can just see that is reflecting the results, all right, based on the filters that we've selected, all right. So 1990, acute hepatitis killed a total of 938,000 people, all right, and India it had its highest death in India, that is in 1990, all right, and then in 1991, still India, and then at this point, 933,000 people died during this year. 1992, still India, 924,000 people died during this year. All right, and so you can go on like that and like that. But if, for instance, we don't want to know for hepatitis, we can simply just come up here, more option, click this, and come to search. And, all right, we want to know information for sickness like malaria. So malaria. So I'm going to select malaria, and Nigerians died of malaria more than any other country. All right, and that's very surprising. I don't know why. So by 1990, India was the leading country that died to malaria. In 1991 was still India. 1992 it was Nigeria. 1992, and then 1993 was still Nigeria. And I think they just became the leading throughout. And 2019 we were still the leading, and it's just so sad that we are dying to malaria. But well, let's just pray our government is able to do something, and we are also able to take very good care of ourselves, And so yeah, so that is that for this. Now our final question, or our last two questions: which countries have the lowest total death, and what are the sicknesses taking the most lives in these countries? All right, so countries by the lowest death. All right, so we've looked at the top five sicknesses. Now we're looking at the bottom five countries, and again we can still use what we use for this to find that. All right, and so if we come right here, we use this. All right, we use this to show that. So let's go in there and do just that. All right, and so the countries with the least amount of death, so countries with the least amount of death, which is total death. All right, so going to come to country, and we'll come back here, and I'll go to top n. Now instead of top n, I'm going to select bottom n, which is going to give me the lowest. All right, the lowest of it. So the countries with the lowest death, so bottom five countries with the lowest death, all right, by the sum of total death. Okay, so we have this, and I'm just going to select this. All right, and so voila. So these are the countries, the top five countries, the bottom countries, all right, or the countries with the lowest amount of death, all right, in them. And now once we have this, we just need to format. So I'll just select this, yeah, because I don't want to go through that whole process of formatting again. So we have this, okay, and then I'm going to come to legend. I don't want the legend. All right, so yes, and then let's bold in the size a little bit. All right, why not? So this, all right, then we don't want the title because we know it's countries. All right, and then the x-axis, we don't want this. We don't want that. Then legend, I saw some grid lines, but I think they are out now. Let's add our zoom slider. All right, yes, it's just a nice addition. So once you've gotten that, now let's add our data labels. Let's put them inside. All right, so position on this. Okay, now let's leave them outside. It's fine. There are still more spaces, so we can just leave them outside. And then sum of total by depth, total depth top 5. No. So let's not forget our titles. I've been paying much attention to my titles. Countries where lowest depth count. All right. Okay. And then this, and then I think we are done with that. And then this is top 5 sicknesses. All right, so top 5 sicknesses, so we can leave that as well. And so since we are done, but the question has a second part to it, which is, and what are the sicknesses taking the most lives in this country? So this simply means we want to know the sicknesses, and for us to know that, we are going to have to create a hierarchy. All right, we are going to have to create a hierarchy so that we're able to use our drill through again. So countries and then the sicknesses. So we put that right there. All right. So now we have our drill through. So I can say, okay, so Cook Islands, all right, this island has a total of 3,999 deaths. Which sickness took the most lives? All right. So I can just click on this, select this, all right, and I can see that again cardiovascular sickness carried the most. All right, it killed 1,392 people. All right, so this is it. This is quite simple. I do hope you enjoyed it. So this is going to be the end of the visualization. You can see cute, nice, and beautiful. You can add this to your portfolio. And again, I'll be leaving all the resources down in the description box below. You can pick them up, try your hands on it. It's a guided project, all right, and then get to know this. You can add your own flair, your own style to this to make it yours. All right, really doesn't matter as long as you are able to do something or add something that makes it unique. All right, and so yes, like I always say, thank you for being here and for taking the time to go through this. And be sure to take off yourself. I'll catch you in the next one. All right, so yeah, see you.